Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you've had a fantastic meanwhile. Today on Sarah Sessions, I have invited Eliza Moore, femme extraordinaire. She is a yoga trainer, she is a breath worker, meditation specialist, trainer, private and in groups of all kinds of modalities. She's a singer-songwriter, mother of two, and just a woman of all trades, really. But all trades that come back to mindfulness and well-being and sharing love and sharing community. So welcome, Eliza. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful introduction, Sarah.
Before we start, I'd like to ask you, how are you feeling? How are you coming in today? This is your first podcast?
It is my first, absolutely. My first podcast. I would say coming in, feeling the transition from summer into fall with the children starting school. And as I was saying, it's sort of like, I feel like I was still transitioning into summer. And then here we are in fall, and then there's a heat wave. It's like, what's happening? but doing well.
Because August here in summer, August this year has been a little cold.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden September comes around, and now we've got this heat wave of 30 degrees plus Celsius every day, starting at 7 a.m. So I totally get that. How has your summer been?
Summer has been pretty full. Yeah, a lot of time with the kids. I took a bit more time off this summer so I could have more time with the kids and the family, and but still have been training and folks and, you know, the group classes and all of these things that I do, but also a few events, music events, also doing my singing bowl and singing with the yoga classes and meditation classes and things like that, which is always very fulfilling. As you were saying, I'm a singer-songwriter, but most recently I would say I have become a bit more involved with sharing my music and voice after a yoga class during the Shavasana. So I will teach the class, and then once everyone is in their Shavasana and resting and in that receiving mode, play the resonance of the bowl, and then use that to sing over and with. And I find that to be a very deep meditation and meditative state for me. And as it turns out for the students, at least that's the feedback I get. It's really interesting. Often people will have like an emotional revelation, or definitely there's been known to be some sobbing in the class, and also some sleeping. So sometimes people will hear the bowl. This has happened 3 times, and instantaneously begin to sleep and then start snoring. So I'm not sure exactly, but something about the resonance of the bowl that will just trigger this deep relaxation of trance state, and then which then turns into sleep state. But I find that very, very fascinating, and it's something I'm going more and more towards. So yeah.
Well, I know firsthand that these moments at the end of yoga classes, which is how I met you, right?
That's right, exactly.
Have been just mind-blowing, bringing me into a different world completely, into my subconscious, and me still being here but not being here, and just kind of traveling into a space, a realm of like just unexplored world. It's been like, I remember the sensations I come out of there, and it's just so good for my nervous system. It really helps us rebalance.
I think there is absolutely something about the resonance. There's a purity of that particular resonance, and then for whatever reason, my genetic vocal quality is very similar. So there's a certain purity of the overtones that mixes, and I don't know. Lucky for me.
Lucky for everybody that comes to your classes. So what started you in this field in the first place?
Yeah.
Because
It's a
have you
revolution.
been a yoga teacher and a coach?
Yeah.
And did you ever think you would be here now?
No, it's all has been a big process. I mean, I took my first yoga class, I think, in London when I was studying music, and London, UK. I was studying music, and I was taking Taekwondo, and I sprained my ankle. And so I started taking yoga classes. I remember this beautiful Swedish woman who was teaching yoga at the YMCA, and I took my first class. I was like, whoa, this is amazing. I didn't know I could feel this good. And then I started going on, and then I go back to the States, and I started taking some classes locally with in upstate New York, and I just was getting more and more into it, and then I started subbing some classes, and then decided to get certified in yoga, and that was sort of a side, I guess you could call it a side hustle, to do teaching yoga as well as performing, and I was also teaching children music at that time. But the yoga started getting stronger and stronger, and then at some point, I guess, when I moved to Montreal, one of my teachers, Kimiko, who we both know, she asked me if I would sing at the end of one of her yoga classes, and that started a whole new train. And then I began to realize, oh wow, when people are in this receptive, deep state, and so am I, because I've also just been doing this yoga class and I've gotten really deep and still, we can really get to like a resonance, I would say, use the word resonance, that is kind of beyond anything we can receive when we're in our day-to-day life, because here we've let go, we're in Shavasana, we're in this sleep state, trance state, and then you receive these vibrations or these, in fact, at this point, I don't even use words, because words can bring the brain to places that maybe they don't need to go to. So just allowing sound, really, just sounding. So that's how I started that road. But I would say that that all during that time, I also have been really interested in not only healing through sound, but also through the body. And because of that feeling I had post yoga, and then able to sing and create a sound and melodies in a more fluid way, I'd say that I went seeking that state more and more often. So I started working out more. I started trying to find my kind of sweet spot of creativity, and so I would, I experimented. I was jogging a lot. Then I began lifting weights, so just sort of finding these different ways to tap into my more embodied state, and then from that place, that embodied place, to be able to create and feel, I guess, more my essence. Period. Yeah. Voila.
So well said. Your essence, I totally agree, is all of that light and all of that frequency just vibrating all the time. Once you meet this woman and take any of her classes, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I'm not throwing flowers here. I'm just saying the facts. So it became somewhat of your go-to.
Absolutely.
This state in your body, it became your go-to.
It's true. Yeah, absolutely. It's reminding me, this is kind of rewind back to 1995. And I won't tell you how old I was, but my father died, and I was in university, and I had this, it was the worst fear of my life, losing my dad. But at that time, I was doing a lot of singing in the choir in college, and I was finding this place where I was able to really. I think it was. I mean, I think now I would look back on it, it was like trance state. Sort of was how I was handling the grief. It was me singing through the grief, through this deep sadness. And then I remember after his funeral, my friend and I were singing for everyone that had come for like the, I don't know, what do you call it, a reception for a funeral? Anyway, we were all sort of awake or whatever. And I was singing on our front lawn, and I had this feeling of like this channel of energy going through my body. And I felt this connection to spirit that was so tangible. And I didn't tell anyone about it for a long time because I thought I was kind of crazy. But it was, you know, I don't know, you could call it a Kundalini moment or whatever. But for me, it was earth, sky, spirit, matter, like is one, boom. And that's where I realized, okay, this is a medium for me to really translate spirit and matter, you know, kind of bring them together, find that edge. And I think from that point on, that's where I started channeling that. So probably should have started with that. But anyway, there is this place where I kind of, used resonance, or resonance used me. I don't know. It was both. And since then, every once in a while, I will get that feeling, this rush of like, and I can't even describe it. I'm sure if anyone has felt it, they know what I'm talking about. But this sort of rush of like being a channel or a vessel, and it's very much head to toe connection, earth, sky. I don't know, the whole works. It's pretty great, but it doesn't happen all the time. You certainly can't force it. Yeah.
And so, what would you say we need to actually allow that surrender to feel that space of
right
connection?
That's such a great question. So I would say that in some ways I seek it, and when I seek it, I don't necessarily find it. So it does happen when I let go into the sound and into the resonance and into, for example, also if, for example, I'm in a room with, 50 people lying down in Shavasana, I will sort of sense their release and their sense of, or I don't know, I hate the word energy, but there's a vibe or something, and then I will also be in that release, and then that's how it can take over me or whatever. This sounds like sort of like a Pentecostal meeting or something.
It's very interesting how we don't allow ourselves to have these conversations about spirituality in a social setting,
I know,
right? It's very interesting. I feel right now like you're like, oh my God, am I really talking about this on our podcast?
I know, yeah.
But it's so important because I think that's something that we've been missing in the society that we have right now. There was this time of great confusion through COVID.
Yes.
And then after COVID, all of a sudden things started opening up, and from having found their purpose, all of a sudden everybody forgot what they had realized during COVID and went right back into overstimulation, addictions, and keeping yourself so busy with whatever it may be that you don't have time to actually sit down and think and
100%.
feel that energy, that connection, not with the great spirits necessarily, but within the great spirit of your body.
Yes, exactly.
Because that great spirit of your body is also all the nature that you see, the beauty of the water, the roots of the tree, the humidity in the air, the wind blowing through your hair, the sun warming your skin, that smell that comes and just wakes up your senses, your olfactory nerve that kind of goes into that memory, that limbic system that connects to that 100%. One specific moment that you could recall to the detail.
Right.
These are the things that guide us, yet we've come so far from them. And I think that it's important to bring conscious awareness to what can be when, you know, everything is about do, go, next.
Yes.
And, you know, keeping the achievements up and, you know,
Absolutely. I know.
The comparison and all this social media, which, you know, I love, has fantastic repercussions and has wonderful, you know, interactions and information. But I think that our brains can only take so much. And now we've
100%.
added AI and as fantastic as it is, I just wonder where we're all going if we cannot come back to surrender to the divinity of the fact that we are all of nature outside of us as it is within us.
Absolutely, 100%. I think that.
So thank you for opening that, opening yourself to you know, have that conversation, because I think that's a really important aspect that we forget to bring up in conversations.
I think
fearing that that sense of, oh, I'm going to look like a fool or too woo-woo because you know what, we're all woo-woo, man.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all crazy in some way. But it's understanding your crazy with my crazy and allowing the connecting vibration to get that frequency.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you said about, you know, in our minds, whether it's the social media or a feeling of needing to achieve, or maybe I need my kids to achieve, or whatever it is that you're trying to distract the brains, like all these chatter, and then you disconnect, of course, from your deeper self and your essence and your truth, frankly. I really believe, as much as I move, as much as I, you know, train and love to feel strong and love to, you know, part of it is like a sensual need to just feel my body and feel the air and feel, you know, feel the water if I'm swimming. But the real strength comes from this deep stillness and deep connection. And for sure, it's of the earth. Like that feeling that I had when I was singing after my dad's funeral, my feet so rooted in the grass, like with bare feet, you know, like I can still feel it. And it's funny because this summer, I was telling you, my cousin and I I was very, very busy. We had like a boat sink, and it was just like a crazy, chaotic week. And I sat with her for, it was just an hour maybe in fact, we were sitting in a cemetery, which is a little weird. Maybe that's like freaky for some people, but we were sitting there, and because there's beautiful breeze coming through and this beautiful light, and she and I just slowed down, and we were breathing, we were meditating a bit and talking between, and again I had that same feeling of like whoosh, you know, oh, earth and spirit, and we're like, oh, we're all residing in this, on this plane together. Like there's so much more than meets the eye, all this chatter. And as I felt that, I sort of saw I had like one of those little visions that I get sometimes also. I saw all these the problems and the players and all the people that were bothering me, or the things and the blah, 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 just sort of like dancing around me in like little miniature figurines. And I was like, oh God, it's just like, it's like a little game or something, you know, and here we are just so in our power and so embodied in maintaining that stillness, that integrity of your essence and self, how that really is the place from which to act from or to do from, if you even need to do anything sometimes, you know, so.
Do you think that stillness is found only in sitting down and not moving and in meditation?
That would be impossible.
Right.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean,
so can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So
I think this is a conversation that many people don't realize.
Right.
Stillness
Yeah.
is a state of mind.
Absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely. I mean, I think there are people probably that really do, need to stop and meditate, and everyone should meditate, by the way. Yes, that's important. But I think that within your day, if you can practice, even if you practice, say, if you could meditate for 10 minutes a day or every 2 days or whatever, you practice that state of calm, of focus, of stillness, and you bring it. The practice is to bring that into your life. Yoga practice, that's great. Do whatever, fancy tricks on the mat. Cool, awesome. Bring it to life. Breathe, freaking breathe when you're in a stressful situation, and you find that zone, you find that flow state, or whatever you want to call it, when you're in action. So you're always, the ideal is you're acting from that embodied state and from that stillness state. So that's what I would say. I don't know, what would you say about that? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are too.
I think stillness, I used to think stillness was sitting down, not moving, and allowing everything to just go in the background and just being there and noticing what's going on. But then I wouldn't be still. I'd be still physically, but I wouldn't be still in my mind.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Really difficult for most people to find that stillness in their mind. So I think it's not so much as to, yes, it's important to sit down and do nothing for 5 minutes a day and be in silence. I find that has its own power and is so essential to mental well-being. However, I also think that stillness can be found in that flow when we're running, when we're
Absolutely.
active, when we're doing that movement of yoga or of exercise or of playing the music or of painting. I think
100%,
stillness
yes.
is somewhere you go in your heart and in your mind to be able to be in that flow, in that presence of focus that happens as you embody that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I'm not any expert on stillness.
Yeah.
I usually like to keep myself quite busy as well.
Thanks, want to know. No, absolutely. But I do find that the practice, it's we're all just like, not just, but we have a lot of neural connectors that are in practice and like to repeat patterns. So the more we can practice, the more positive, or I don't know, positive is the wrong word. So the more embodied or the more connected state, the more we will go back to that. And it's funny, I also would just say that I find lifting heavy weights also really helps me get into that state. One of my singing, I had a singing teacher from Juilliard, and she would do these warm-ups with me that I now teach in my fitness classes, and I should tell her that. But she would have me like bend my knees and pretend to lift the piano with my hands so I could connect like the transverse and like really feel your breath really low. Or she would have me do squats or lunges, and this is all to warm up to sing opera, and it's the same idea. It's that support, that place. So yeah, when you're preparing to lift something heavy, or you gotta be in your body. So it's like, boom, let's go there. So I'm sure that's why I was drawn to lifting heavy weight. Yeah.
I love that. And it's interesting because as a body worker, I know that there are different diaphragms in the body, and they all these diaphragms work together in conjunction for us to have best functionality. However, if the pelvic floor is not moving, is not strong, is not toned, then, and the diaphragm is not moving or expanding, then they're not working together. And that voice, that vocal box at the top of your throat is not going to get the energy that you can get when you've got that power of breath and that activation of those muscles that help you expand in that 360 degree as you breathe.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Have you ever noticed that when in the past they used to sing while working in the farms or wherever?
Totally.
The reason why they sing is because it brings in energy. This breath, this oxygen is actually the mother of all energy in traditional Chinese medicine and is directly linked to your lungs. So the deeper you breathe, the better you have energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I guess that's why, the lifting, the squats before you sing, and lifting the piano and that breath work that you do before singing your opera with your incredible voice is because it's kind of like that warm up, right?
Absolutely.
You don't go lifting 180 pounds without warming up first.
Absolutely.
Well, you don't do, the same thing with voice, with the same thing with, actors or whatever it may be.
Of course.
So,
yes, for sure.
That embodiment connector between body and intention of what I want to bring out becomes so important to be intentional.
That's true.
To bring that space. I think.
Yeah. No, I think it's absolutely
true. To bring
true.
that mindfulness, to bring that stillness, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all sort of like a big circle, It just one feeds the other, feeds the other, feeds the other. It was just brought up one other thing, which reminded me of how I realized I teach my yoga classes probably in the way that I have to teach my own brain. But oftentimes I'll sort of make it fun in the beginning, and we'll have I also like to use a nice soundtrack and get people moving and almost dancing or animal moves or something. And then slowly before they realize it, they're down, and we're chilling the F out, and they've got to just slow the breath, and a good 15-20 minutes of just slow breathing, and then helping people, myself as well, coming down into that deep stillness state. Sometimes you have to trick the mind a little bit, get it moving, get into that body, feel, have fun, laugh. Definitely laughter is another great warm-up, right?
Absolutely.
And then feel the so it doesn't feel like work. Right. Let's have a blast, and then chill out.
Because the best workouts are what? More playful.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And which kind of workouts are the most consistent? The more fun ones.
The more fun ones. Those are the ones you're going to show up for. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
right.
Totally. Yeah, 100%.
I love that. And I like by experience, I love that contrast of coming in, taking a moment to get into your body through your breath, getting that movement, that flow, that going, that woo, and then coming back down and falling into your body even deeper. I think that's a very powerful practice and technique to come into that awareness, that conscious awareness of what's really going on inside our body, and to be more mindful and attentive to the sensations and the information that our body is sending us. So if I've got a pain on my foot, maybe it's not from my foot, but it's actually from my hip, and all of a sudden once I'm into my body, I can actually feel that and make myself routine to take care of that, whether it's going to see a therapist or going to see a yoga practitioner or whatever it may be.
Yes,
right?
yes, totally.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
so
you. I
welcome.
think that was really fantastic to talk about stillness. Can I just ask you,
of course,
what is the best gratitude and mindfulness practice for you, being as all of this is always happening for you. You've got your music, you've got your events, you've got your violin, your singing, your yoga and your workouts and your kids and those mini moments of you time where you go swimming on your own or on that bike, you know, going from point A to point B, being so, you know, what is it that keeps you grounded, grateful, and mindful in your practice?
Yeah, this a really
or in your
good
life,
question, you know, and let's just say that that's constantly something I'm working on and building into my practice as things shift and change. But I would say that a few things are coming to mind. The first one that I find very powerful and very simple, I think it's one of those heart math techniques, where you simply place your hands at your heart, or one hand at the heart, one at the belly, and breathe with your own hand, your own tactile sensation at your own body. So you're really just bringing your awareness down into your torso. And for me, that really helps bring the static of the brain, kind of, or let's say release it, and brings the mind down into the body. And I tend to be able to tap a bit more into my wisdom in that state. Saying that, I would also say in movement, one of my favorite ways to move these days is on a paddleboard, just out on the river, feeling the flow of the river, looking down, seeing the fish, the seaweed, the rocks, and then just coasting along and feeling my body. Something about rowing is a very primal, kind of ancient human technique that we, and it's also rotational, really great for the body and core. You just really feel your full capacity as a human, I think, as a being. And then, of course, jumping into the water and swimming. So for me, something about that, those two things. So yeah, the hands on my own chest and belly, and then some combination of water, coasting along, swimming in, whatever it is. And similarly, actually, so once that water freezes, cross-country skiing is same for me, like a really, it's a very primal movement pattern. It's like running, I suppose, but you're sliding and no impact, just a beautiful sliding against this frozen snow. Yeah, so those are 2, 3, however many I just listed to it. Yeah, some.
And so those are practices that you do to get into that mindfulness and that gratitude.
Absolutely.
Bring that awareness and that flow.
100%. Yeah, sort of those would be things that I would go to get into that state before going towards like creating or saying that also there are times within the creative process when it isn't stuck. For example, when you really feel that flow and you're writing and you're singing or whatever, like that also is just such a connected, grateful state for me. Yeah, absolutely. You know, as I'm talking, I'm like, oh, right. And then there's this and there's this. I guess I try to pull that in as much as I can, you know, just, and again, whether it's also jogging or teaching a class and to these beautiful students that we have the honor of teaching over at La Finisserie. It's an amazing community. Yeah. Boy, it's amazing once you start talking. You're like, wow, actually, there's that and there's this. Yeah.
Tell me more about La Finisserie and your how you got into, okay, fine, you were passionate about music, you went to school in Juilliard and then traveled around, and then you got into yoga, and that was a new world, and now you got into, you know, strength training, and now you've been at Finisserie for a while. You guys just celebrated your 5th anniversary.
We
I
did,
believe.
yes,
That
5
is
years.
Fantastic.
Absolutely, lived
Congratulations.
through, survived COVID. there's definitely no other gym I would be working at for sure. There's no way I would be a personal trainer or a strength teacher of strength and conditioning, and zero possibility. It is 100% because of La Fitnesserie, the community, the owner, the other trainers. I was teaching yoga there. As I was hustling all over the city, and then the fitness is where I was training my body. And then some of the students were saying, oh, we'd love to offer yoga. And I said, oh, well, I could teach yoga. I'll just do a trade with you, no problem. And then that grew into me teaching twice a week. And then one of the trainers had to leave, and she asked if I would sub her class. I said, oh yeah, sure, but I'm not certified. And then they were like, oh, just get your certification, no problem. And then it just and then COVID hit, and I had lots of time to study for certification. So anyway, long story short, I kind of jumped in or slid into becoming a personal trainer via teaching yoga there. It was 100% because of that community, and I wanted to just keep that gym going because it's really like a family. In fact, I also called it my church, which because it's like a ritual. In that, at least 3 times a week, I will go there, train, feel my body, feel great, share that with other people, laugh, cry. I've cried so many times in that gym, make dirty jokes, whatever it is, just let it out. And you always leave feeling so much better than when you came. I would say the other thing that makes this gym unique, there's so many things, but there are no mirrors. So there really is no sort of sense of comparison, or no one's there kind of flaunting their, it's great. Great. People don't need to wear lots of clothes and whatever and cover up, but there's something that's just very loving, and there's so many different shapes and forms and ages, and it's not like I'm going to go pick up people at the gym. Definitely not that vibe. Don't go there if you're looking to pick someone up. No, it's it is very authentic. It's very authentic. Thank you. That's the word. And
very welcoming, I must say.
Very welcoming. Very welcoming, and the community is definitely. It almost feels like a community organization, in that the members have almost come together and created their own. In fact, they've created their own event called Sports Day, and once a month or twice a month we'll meet up at the park and play badminton and soccer or whatever it is we want to play, or bocce, or just hang out and have a drink, or go for a swim. And so finding other opportunities to hang out, or we'll go for a hike or do a spa day. And because the members, we just love hanging out with each other, and I think because it's so authentic, we really feel ourselves and feel as though we can be our authentic selves. So yeah, that is why I work there.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
What are your best practices for somebody that wants to work out and get in shape?
Ooh, good questions.
What are maybe 4 of the best exercises that you would do?
Sure. I would I would have to assess the person a bit and see if there were, but planks are freaking awesome. Front plank, side plank, you can't go wrong with that. Just getting the core refiring up, and you can do so many variations. I would say after that, don't forget your back, because we think, plank, then push up. No, because you don't want to overbuild your chest. So doing some pull downs, or maybe pull apart, take a strap and pulling it apart. Any sort of pull up or pull down kind of exercise.
To be working your lower traps and your mid traps,
exactly,
and your back muscles.
Exactly, rather than always focusing on the chest. Yeah, I'm a big fan of opening up the back and chest. Strengthening the back and opening the chest. There you go. That's what I meant to say. Legs. squats, lunges and lunge with a rotation. So you could do a walking lunge, maybe holding a ball, or it could be a block, something with a little bit of weight, so you can feel yourself rotating over the front leg, the bent knee, and then walking the next and rotating over. This is a great exercise. There's so many variations within that you can do, and then squats. Also, obviously, you just do body weight squats. You can hold, you can pulse, you can jump, you can, any variation in there. Then you could do a push-up. Push-ups are also good for you. And of course, push-ups are fun. You can play around. You've got your hands under your shoulders, wide, one in front, one in back, tight. You can jump, you can do plyos, clap your hands. So 1, 2, 3. Did you say 4, 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably good. Yeah.
5.
I think that's probably
good.
And then don't forget to stretch. So yeah, do some downward dogs and
so planks, back pull movements, lunges with rotation.
Yeah.
Squats, and then maybe push-ups.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Because
very honestly, that push-up that you're talking about, I'm glad you're saying that, because a lot of people have that forward
100%
rotation of their shoulders towards that medial line, which
100%
doesn't allow that full expansion of the upper rib cage and comes and inhibits that expansion of the back rib cage, which is supposed to be moving when you're breathing with all of those muscles from your core and not from your upper back.
Yes.
So yes, I totally agree.
Absolutely.
So essential.
Yeah.
Can you give us what is it that fills your heart at work, at home, and in your community?
Oh boy. I think connection is probably the answer on all of those. That's a big reason why I play music. It's not so much the put it out there. It's the I want to receive. I'm receiving back vibration from who I'm giving music to. It's a real give and take. Same thing. Teaching classes, connection. I'm presenting. A bunch of exercises or maybe a yoga flow, and I'm following, but I'm also receiving. It's like, okay, well, let's make, and I'll make a alteration or a variation if I'm feeling it's the wrong thing for that person, or and then of course at family, yes, connection is the number one as well. So yeah, that's really what keeps me going. It's connection, community, real heart. I'm a heart-centered person, that's for sure. 100%. Sure. The heart is on fire, yeah.
Absolutely. And that's why you're here.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Sessions. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
You have been fantastic.
Yeah. It feels like a therapy session,
so
Sarah.
much fun. And I love your authenticity, and that's always what brings me back to you over and over and over. This woman is so powerful in just being and allowing others to shine as they are, because she shines exactly as she is. So thank you so much for bringing that and all of the things that you bring to this world, because that's part of the magic that you share constantly. And I wish you to keep on sharing with so many more people. On that note, we are at the end of the podcast time, and you do have to go, unfortunately.
That's true. I have a session.
I was wondering, is there any last little something that you'd like to add? Anything that you would want people to know, or any message that you would have for somebody out there that's listening to this today?
I think I just to sort of come back to what I said, but trust yourself. Listen to yourself. There's so many voices out there. There's so much talk and as you said with AI, there's so much we don't even know if we can trust, because maybe it's been reconfigured. So really, really, more than ever, so important to just get in touch with your embodied voice, your center, your essence, whatever you want to call it, and go from there, work from there. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Find
Thank
your
you.
seat. I love that. And where can we find more information about you, Eliza Moore, as well as La Fitnesserie, as well as all of your lovely...
Sure. I have a website, which will be updated soon, but it's elizamore.com. Definitely also, I have an Instagram. I usually post things there. That's actually Mofo More, which is a story, which I'll tell another podcast. And then, usual social media. But Fitnesserie, same thing. You can find us online or just come by the gym and try a class. I'm going to be doing a few events in September I'm excited about. I have a sound healing with Patricia at Myland on Thursday, is it the 15th or 16th of September? Kimiko and I have 2 events. She's coming back, yay, the 21st of September, the 27th of October, and oh boy, I'm forgetting some. And I have some with Corinne also. We're doing some new moon events. So lots of music and moon events coming up. So come see those anytime.
Fantastic. And don't forget, she's not only about yoga, she will whip your ass.
Oh, that's true,
if you want a good training.
That is definitely true.
I can guarantee you that.
That is true, yes. Come to Glutes and Abs at 12:15 today. You'll feel it.
Definitely. You're going to love it too. Thank you so much for listening, tuning in. I hope you enjoy the rest of your morning, your afternoon, your evening, and I hope this first episode with Eliza, amongst many hopefully, has inspired you and has given you some food for thought and food for soul. I wish you a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening. See you later.